Good afternoon. Welcome to our daily Kundalini Yoga Challenge. Where we work on transmuting and transforming and releasing and expressing our energies. Perhaps it's the energy of anger, rage, resentment, disappointment, maybe grief, maybe sadness. Whatever does not need to be in this temple anymore, we could let it go. And of course, our meditation that we're doing, helping us see the corners and the creases and the folds of our subconscious mind, things that we have established for ourselves, perhaps as a defense mechanism when we were young, or maybe something that got passed on to us from our ancestors, our lineage, our heritage. And we need to look at that. We need to address our shadows. We need to address and look at parts of ourselves that are hidden or that we don't really know yet, and just allowing that all to come up. And so we will begin. Today is day 58. Whew. Not so much left to go, actually. And so let us tune in so we could begin our practice. There's a lot going on in my personal life, and I am asking for guidance and for support from the universe and God, Creator, Source, and my own higher self, because the one person that you could truly rely on is yourself. Of course, it's awesome to have great support network, or we call in Kundalini Yoga tradition called the Sangat. The Sangat is the tribe, the community that holds space for you. Sangat is people that know what's going on and they could help you. People that come together to chant for miracles, for healing. But I also look at it as, in this body there are trillions of cells, and that is my Sangat. That is my community. And so if I channel my thoughts in a direction that I envision, then the Sangat, then every cell in my body will try to make that possible. You know, same thing, as my thoughts come out to the universe, then everything in the universe becomes my Sangat, becomes my community that supports. So let's bring our hands into prayer mudra in front of the heart center. Taking a deep inhale and full exhale. Inhaling deeply, lengthening the spine, pulling up through the crown of the head. And exhaling, relaxing, releasing the shoulders down the back, letting go of any tension that might be present in the body. Once again, deeply inhale. Lengthening, lifting the gaze up to the brow point, connecting to your all-knowing, all-seeing eye, the mind's eye. Exhale. Pushing all the breath out. One more deep inhale. And full exhale. And let's inhale deeply to tune in with Adi Mantra. Om Namo Gurudeva Namo Om Gurudeva Namo Adgure Name Jugadgure Name Sadgure Name Sri Gurudeva Name Adgure Name Jugadgure Name Sadgure Name Sri Gurudeva Name Adgure Name Jugadgure Name Sadgure Name Sri Gurudeva Name. Deeply inhale. Pulling on the root lock, suspending that breath, holding the gaze to the brow point, consolidating, centering and aligning yourself to your highest truth. And exhale. And release. Satnam. Okay, so I'm going to change things up a little bit, and I'm going to do the fists of anger sitting in rock pose. So rock pose is sitting on your heels. If that is available to you, go ahead and do that. Try it if you'd like. I'm just going to experiment because that's what I consider myself, is a yogic scientist. I am my own subject and I'm my own scientist. So I was just curious how that's gonna feel to do it this way. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. If you feel compelled to do that as well, go ahead. If not, easy seated is fine. Again, couple of pointers. Mudra is thumb is reaching. I have a short thumb, but you want to place it right here on a mound of the pinky. This is the mudra for expression and communication, as we're expressing and giving the opportunity to our body to release the energy. So whatever it is you're expressing, anger, frustration, like I mentioned earlier, any emotions of vibrations that are no longer serving you. I don't want to say low frequency vibration or low vibration because it's judging it. So, but if you have residual things that you know you don't have to carry that within your body, then that's what you're releasing. It's a backward stroke. Engage the mula bandh, so pelvic muscles are slightly contracted. Not to the point where you're super tight like we do at the end. At the end, I really want you to lock it up as tightly as you can. Really tighten up the back, all the muscles, because it's almost like at the end when we stretch up and we're making everything tight, it's like you squeezing and you're wringing out all the toxins out of your body. And that's kind of how I look at it. So that's what I invite you to do. But as we do the Kriya, you just want to gently hold the root lock, not too intensely, only because you want to stay in your center. You want to be grounded. And you know, the first time I heard the word grounded, I'm like, what am I punished for? I don't want to punish myself. I didn't know what that meant. But grounded, being grounded is being here in your vessel, being here in this world, doing the footwork, knowing who you are, knowing that you're safe, you're taken care of, you're protected, knowing who you are, that you're not like spaced out and scattered and, you know, so out there. So, and that's why in almost most of the kriyas that I do in Kundalini Yoga, I always bring it back to the pelvic floor, having a slight contraction there to remain in my body, so I'm not like traveling out of the body. I am feeling it here. Gazing to the brow point, this is where we want to kind of have the optic nerve stimulate the pituitary pineal gland. This is the mind's eye. This is what they call the seat of your intuition. It creates a certain pressure, but the pressure subsides. The more we do it, the more we train ourselves to keep the gaze here, the less pressure we will feel. And sometimes the gaze wanders off, we forget. And if you do, just when you remember, just bring it back. No judgment, no negative self-talk. Just remember to bring it back and like, oh yeah, you drifted again. Okay, bringing it back. Mentally chanting Har, as it is the mantra that means seed, God, creator, source, energy. It also means I release. Har means release, let go. And so if anything else, that is definitely what we're trying to do here today. And for the last 57 days and for so many days coming forward. So here we go. With a breath of fire, O-shaped mouth, no puffing the cheeks, working the navel center. This is the fire. And of course, women on menstrual cycle or pregnant beyond first period, we're doing a long, deep breath instead of the breath of fire. So we're going to establish the breath first. Close the eyes, add the arms, and go. Here we go. Deeply inhale through the O-shaped mouth, pulling in the root log tightly, squeezing the spine with the muscles of the back. Cannon breath out. 2 more times. Inhale, sweep your arms out to the side. Come into your meditative space. Stay here for a moment. Let's take a deep inhale, a sigh or an exhale. Again, deeply inhale. And exhale. One more. Ready, open your eyes, take a little bit of water, or tea. Okay. It's challenging. It's challenging to live in the unknown, not to know what's gonna be, how it's gonna be. And I find myself in that space right now, that there's a lot of uncertainties, and I'm reminding myself that I know everything will be fine. I know everything will be okay, and I am continuing to cultivate that trust that everything exactly how it should be. And I just practice strengthening that faith, knowing that everything is as it should be. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard, especially when we see our loved ones suffer, or we see our, injustice in the world and hostility in the world and things. It's hard. It's hard to sit back and say, oh yeah, things are exactly how they should be. But things are coming to the surface so we could look at it, and then we could heal it. And we could make and take steps to address it in a way that's suited for us individually. Can we change the world? Absolutely. If I look out to the world and see everything that's wrong with it, it makes me feel very little. It makes me feel helpless and hopeless and powerless. But if I look at the world, that this world is a reflection of that world, and that world is a reflection of this world, my inner world and outer worlds are connected and the same, then I feel big. Then I feel empowered that I have the capacity and the ability to change it. And it is no easy task. Absolutely, it's not an easy task, but you've got to trust. You've got to trust, and don't forget to be grateful, because as challenging as things sometimes appear, there is a lesson, there is a nectar, there is a blessing. We call it a gift without a bow. You know, any trauma, any unfortunate circumstance could potentially have its blessing, because we become better because of it. We make a change. Pain is a catalyst for change. And so if you look at some of the prominent figures, or maybe some people in your life, or even maybe you yourself, if you've had that rock bottom state where you asked yourself, is this really as good as it gets? Or is this really what life is all about? Is this really what I meant to be? And then from there is a burst, and a new opening appears where you discover what you meant to be, what life is all about. And some of us search all life long, and that's okay too. That's okay too. All right, I am back to easy seated for our meditation to look at our shadows. You know, when I did the fist of anger just now, it's almost like I feel like if I could just suck up all the cancerous cells in the world, if I could just suck up all the viruses and infection in the world and put it over my head and punch it out, that makes me feel good. And that's what I did. So just wanted to share that. We could change. We drive the change. We facilitate the change, but it has to come from here, from the heart. When the mind and the heart is in tune, fueled by our fire center to propel us to take the actions that are necessary to help and to serve people in the world, or people that need it the most. Doesn't mean you serve everybody, 7.5 billion people on this planet, but if you touch a life of one person a day, perhaps you've given somebody a smile, perhaps you said hello to someone, that's already could be a life-changing for someone who doesn't have that. You know, we often take things for granted, and we never know what that person's day is like, or what their life is like. We don't know. So bringing that level of compassion is really, really, really needed in today's challenging times. All right, hands are on the chest, sitting up nice and tall. Remember to tuck the chin in, so the cervical spine, the neck is open, so all our 3 channels, the Ida, Pingala, and the Shushmana, are open, and all the energy is moving freely without any kinks. Of course, the energy is intelligent and it could detour as it needs to, but we want to help it along in the best way that we can. So inhaling 5 seconds, exhaling 5 seconds, and staying in the stillness, suspending the breath out for up to 15 seconds. I don't know mentally if you could continue to recite a mantra of your choice, or perhaps, just following the breath and paying attention to the breath, sensing where and down where it travels. Maybe there is some tense spots in your body, some areas in your body where you need some healing. So direct the prana into those parts, and then as you suspend, feel that tension subside or go, and then exhale, pulling it all out from the depth of your belly. Gazing at the brow point or eyelids closed, 9/10, looking way down, letting a little bit of light come in through the lids. Let's first take a cleansing breath as we sit in our yogic posture. And exhale. And now begin deeply inhaling slowly for 5 counts. Exhaling for 5 counts. And suspending the breath out. Relaxing the diaphragm. Keeping the body still like statue. Make this your last cycle. And take a deep inhale through the nose. Suspend the breath at the top. Gently engage the root lock. Exhale. Inhale with root lock and stretch your arms up. Exhale. One more time, deepest inhale. And shake the arms a little, or a lot. Shake the shoulders, wiggle the spine. Exhale. Maintain your full presence in this meditative state. And let's take a deep inhale. A sigh or an exhale. A few more times. When you're ready, you may gently open your eyes. Yeah. And something interesting dropped in for me. Okay, I'll sit with that for a little bit. Has to do with food and my I almost say control over rationing the food. So I don't know why that popped in, but anyway, it seems like since I remember, since I was a child, food was never just left for free, you know, fend for yourself kind of deal. There's always like, this is what we're eating today, this is what we're eating tomorrow, like this is how much you could have, you know. And I've always had that no matter where I lived. It's interesting that it's still a very much part of how I am too. I can't just have, like my children always push my limits. If I get a tub of ice cream, I could say, hey, this is so many servings here and it's supposed to last this long for, you know, so many people, and it's gone the next day. I get agitated, but why? Why can't I just let that go? Why do I have to ration everything? So interesting that that dropped in. Not sure why, or maybe I have a suspicion as to why, but when I talk about pain and energies that get passed on to us through our ancestry line or our lineage. In my lineage, there is, you know, survivors of the Holocaust, and so this relationship with food and this rationing of food is huge. You know, I think it's part of my DNA, like to know how much to eat or what not to eat is something I was always connected to food and allocation and serving. And you know, even before I embraced on a healthy lifestyle, it was always like, this is what we're eating today. No, you can't have that because that's not until 2 days later. It's just weird. But anyway, so that's for me to explore. And hopefully you had your own insights on that, on whatever your meditation delivered to you. Let's seal our practice for today with one long Satnam, bringing the hands into prayer mudra in front of the heart center, thumbs up pressing into the sternum. Let's take a cleansing breath. And exhale. Inhale deep. Satnam, day 58, complete, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Satnam.